Chase Elliott talks about his injury. Dale Earnhardt Jr. teases his next start. And do NASCAR drivers need more time off? We'll talk about that coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, first things first, let's get to that Dale Earnhardt Jr. post about possibly his next start. It says, mark your calendars. JRM's Fan Day served by Hellman's is set for May 25th. Details to follow. Full story at that link right there. So that in and of itself is not necessarily a big deal, but a lot of fans were making a lot about that car that you saw in that picture underneath of the veil. They're saying that it looks a lot like a next-gen car. In fact, someone overlaid this image right here. Now you can see from that image right there, it seems like it possibly, in a lot of people's minds, I guess, lines up to a next-gen car. And all throughout the comments, people are like, oh, is Junior going to race the next-gen car or something like that? Me personally, I don't think so. I think he's just going to announce his next Xfinity Series start or something like that. But we will have to wait and see. But if you read through all the comments of the post there, a lot of people are super excited. They think he is going to run a cup race. The interesting thing about this is scheduled for after the week after the All-Star race. So I don't think he'll be announcing that he's racing the All-Star race or anything like that. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Obviously had surgery on my tibia in a couple different places. I have a few screws in my in the top of my tibia there. It's really more, I guess, knee located than it is lower leg. So yeah, I guess that kind of answers that. And then what was the second question?
Can you take me through kind of what your rehab's been, and then if you have any other surgeries that you would need later on?
Yeah. So yeah, rehab's been, I guess, pretty standard for that type of injury. It's not an uncommon injury by any means, and certainly could have been a lot worse. Fortunately, there were no ACL tear or meniscus or any of that. So that was all very positive and could have, like I said, could have been a lot worse.
So there you go. It appears to be more in the upper knee. It's not toward the ankle or anything like that. So any of his exhaustion issues or anything he might not have been able to get through in rehab or something like that, it's going to be probably up in his upper knee. He said also in that clip that he is not going to need any further surgeries. This, of course, is Chase Elliott talking about the injury. Let's look at what else he had to say to Bob Pockrass here.
You have to enjoy your life and go and do things that are I don't want to say a distraction, but like a nice escape from this every week. There's a lot that goes into the racing thing, and I think you have to have that way to escape and let your mind rest a little bit. Look, the accident could have happened tripping downstairs or on a jog or anything. And, snowboarding is something that I've been doing for a long time. I'm comfortable doing it. I wasn't out doing anything that was wild or crazy. I don't have a cool story to tell. It was just that perfect storm that could have happened at any point in time, honestly.
So you see there, he talks about he wants to let his mind escape. He wants to let his mind rest. You need breaks from the regular season because the regular season is a grind. So I found that very interesting because that's actually going to lead into the next thing I'm talking about here. And he also said later on that he planned on continuing to do this to stay in shape for the seasons coming up. So he's not going to change anything necessarily that he's doing in his off-season training schedule, and I guess in this case his on-season training schedule to stay in shape to drive these race cars. But he did mention off weeks and how you got to mentally prepare for your off weeks. And Brad Keselowski and Rodney Childers had some thoughts on that too. Let's take a look at what they had to say. Rodney Childers said, I can tell you from everyone that has busted their butts for me the last 10 years, the answer is yes. No matter how we make it happen, back to old school, 1 week off at Easter, 1 week off midsummer while the kids are out of school, and 1 week off in the fall. Brad Keselowski said about the off weeks during the season, my crazy take, 3 weeks off. Spring, after the West Coast when it's cold everywhere else. Summer, week of the NBA/NHL finals. Fall, week before the championship race to build up hype. 3 midweek races during the summer months at small short tracks. Thoughts? And that's when Rodney Childers jumped in. So there you have it. If you look at the attendance and you look at some of the numbers from the Bristol dirt race, I think it is safe to say that that Easter race, they could leave that open, because I feel like just a lot of people that watch NASCAR have other things that they would probably be doing on Easter, so that's always going to be a tough sell. I think no matter which track you take it to, I don't think it's necessarily on Bristol in this particular situation. And I also like Brad Keselowski's idea about the NBA Finals and the NHL Final, that we just have an off week there, because there's no need to compete against that particular, championship game or anything like that. So I think that's a good idea too. And then of course, one off week before the playoffs start. I like that too, so you can build up the playoffs. So I think that's a good idea, even though I'm not a playoff fan or anything like that. If you're going to have it, you might as well build it up for a week. They do the same thing with the Super Bowl. The week before the Super Bowl is an off week, and they have the Pro Bowl or whatever. So I think it is a good idea to have that build up week, and then you get into, the actual NASCAR playoffs. All right, that is about all I've got for you on this one. Headed up to Martinsville. If this current system I'm sitting in here with rain, if that's headed to Martinsville, I think it's going to be a tough day of it. I don't know if they're actually going to get it in, but I will head up there. Probably get there, hopefully, before the race starts. Like I said, I'm leaving after work. But yeah, all I got for you on this one. So if you've got a comment or question, leave it down below. Try to get to as many of them as I can. If it's your first time to the channel, I'd appreciate your subscription. If you're already subscribed, I appreciate you all as well. And if you're out at Martinsville, I'll see you there. Other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.